Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and we've got a major backlash going on against trans athletes competing in women's sports. An international sports body has just banned trans athletes from competing. We're going to find out how they're but the latest on this trans crackdown, and make sure to stick with me at the very end of this video when I'll show you precisely why trans activism is indeed coming to a decisive end. You're not going to want to miss this. The World Athletics Council, the governing body for international track and field competitions, has just announced that they have officially barred all transgender athletes from competing in women's sports competition. It's being widely reported that the council's policy, which goes into effect in just a few days on March 31st, is aimed primarily at post-pubescent men who now identify as women. The council announced that their deliberations yielded a firm agreement that they needed to prioritize the fairness and integrity of female competition over transgender inclusion. Now, this decision comes on the heels of a comparable decision from the swimming world's international governing body known as FINA, which stands for the International Swimming Federation. Some months back, they decisively ruled that post-pubescent biological males would be banned without exception from competing in women's swimming competition. Now, this, of course, became a major issue with the advent of swimmer Lia Thomas. Thomas was widely touted by our fawning left-wing lamestream media as making history by becoming the first openly transgender athlete to win a Division I national championship. Thomas, who, of course, is a biological male, won the championship by beating Emma Wyant. Now, Wyant was a silver medalist in the recent Tokyo Olympics. She posted some of the fastest times in collegiate sports. She was all but guaranteed gold at the national championships, but she had to resign herself to silver because the NCAA made the decision to allow Thomas, again a biological male, to compete in women's swimming. And just to really bring this home, while Wyant has consistently competed at the highest level among her fellow female swimmers, Lia Thomas was ranked 554th when competing against males. And so, because American institutions right now are so radically infested with the absurdities of ideological wokeness, the ultimate decision on what to do about transgender athletes fell onto the international organization FINA, and they, of course, made the definitive judgment that any and all transgender athletes who have already gone through puberty as males are officially banned from women's swimming competitions. Tennis great Martina Navratilova is hailing these decisions handed down by international sports organizations as, in her words, steps in the right direction. Navratilova, who of course is part of the LGBT community, has been very critical and outspoken on the obvious unfairness of biological males competing in women's sports. And she's not alone. The Washington Post, one of the more leftist rags in the nation, conducted a poll of American attitudes towards transgender athletes competing in women's sports, and the poll was clearly shocking for the woke left. The poll found that 55% of those surveyed opposed transgender athletes competing in high school female athletics, and 58% opposed transgender athletes competing in college female sports. Only 28% supported transgenders competing in college female athletics. And this is why we're seeing red states in particular banning trans athletes all over the place. They're just riding the wave of opposition here, rooted not in transphobia or any intention to denigrate, but rather, as the World Athletics Council said it, rooted in a sense of fairness and integrity in female sports. And so this is the key to why we really are beginning to see a massive backlash against trans activism. There's a very good piece that explains precisely why the trans train looks like it's coming to a full stop in the midst of this massive backfire, and I'm going to show you exactly how. But first, gang, I know with all of the chaos around us, bank closings, riots, economic collapses, indictments, it's easy to feel discouraged, confused, and defeated. But in all reality, as I show you each and every day on this channel, it's all nothing more than the last grasp of a dying liberal world order trying to desperately hold on to power as long as they can. All my research is pointing to the fact that the whole liberal world is falling apart. And it's more possible than ever to escape the liberal world order. But now I've got a question for you. What do you want to see in terms of resources and strategies for that escape? You see, over the last month, I've been researching how to help you escape this woke insanity with your family, with your sanity intact. So what I'm doing here is I'm compiling all this research into a step-by-step guidebook to help you feel encouraged and weather the storm. But first, I really want to hear from you about what you'd like to see addressed in this resource. So all you have to do is comment down below or send me an email directly at steve@turleytalks.com to let me know your thoughts. Together as courageous patriots, we're rising up and saying no to the liberal world order once and for all. I can't wait to share this resource with you, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. I think Phil Klein had a really good point in a recent article where he contrasted the success of the gay rights movement with the seeming failure of the transgender movement. And here's what he writes, quote, "While there are many reasons for the rapid shift in opinion on gay marriage, one strong component to it was that there was a libertarian thread at the heart of it. Proponents argued that if two men fell in love, decided they wanted to spend their life together, and wanted to make it official, it should be their own business and nobody else's. Arguments made by social conservatives about the breakdown of traditional marriage simply did not prevail, especially with the younger generation, because people ultimately concluded that one couple's same-sex marriage poses no threat to anybody else's ability to have a happy heterosexual marriage. The libertarian argument is what helped win over a lot of small government Republican and independent voters to the cause of gay marriage. In 2004, just 19% of Republicans supported gay marriage, according to Gallup. But by 2021, a 55% majority did. What's substantially different about the current debate on the transgender front is that it's moved away from the successful strategy of gay marriage proponents. While the public is broadly accepting of the idea that adults who want to identify as a different gender and undergo hormone treatment to live out their lives should be given space to do so, transgender activists are pushing for changes that have direct ramifications for others. Two men falling in love and getting married may not directly affect anybody else, but when an athlete who's gone through male puberty starts to dominate a woman's sport, it does. And that, I think, is golden. That's a key observation here for why transgender activism is floundering in a way that gay rights hasn't. Gay rights is seen, for right or for wrong, it's irrelevant. It's generally seen as libertarian in nature, whereas transgender rights are increasingly seen as totalitarian and authoritarian. They now want you, the female athlete, to step aside, regardless of all the hard work and sacrifice that you put into this. They want you to step aside and allow athletes that are physically and completely other to take your place. That's a very tough sell. And obviously it's not working. And I think this is why trans activism is destined to fail. And if these recent international rulings and opinion polls are any indicator, that fail has already begun. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on a desperately woke media trying to pin the blame on the Daily Wire for the horrific Nashville shooting. You're not going to want to miss this, so make sure to click on the link and I'll see you over there. God bless.